Welcome back, everyone. Today we will be discussing the Yeezy 450 Cloud White Shock Drop for the worldwide restock. Specifically, we will be discussing some release info, how to cop, and of course, some resale predictions at the end of the video. For those who are unaware, the Yeezy 450 Cloud White initially dropped on March 6th of 2021 for $200. Originally, this drop was actually supposed to be in February and was going to be an Asia exclusive. Then they were delayed to March 6th and ended up releasing on multiple different Adidas regions as well as different retailers, pretty much a worldwide drop. However, that was not the end of it. According to multiple reliable sources, the Yeezy 450 Cloud White will be restocking tomorrow, October 22nd, for a lowered retail of $180 rather than $200. Most notable of all these sources would have to be YZ Cops, considering they did point this out all the way back in May of this year. Just today, though, they did make a reminder post about these 450s dropping tomorrow, essentially confirming that nothing has really changed from their perspective. I can also confirm that this is certainly going to be taking place for a couple of reasons, even though I don't myself have an Adidas connection in the same manner that I have a Nike and Jordan connection for products and shock drops. First, I did see that images did reload on Adidas.com, which is certainly a good sign. More notably than that, though, today I did see that Wish ATL, a sneaker boutique, accidentally loaded these up and quickly removed them afterwards. But the cherry on top has to go to 1290 SQM. This retailer is always completely out of touch with release procedures. Often Adidas does tend to inform certain retailers to make certain PIDs surprise drops, and that they don't post until a couple of hours before the drops, perhaps maybe a flash raffle type drop or just a complete straight up shock drop. Well, 1290 SQM really does give zero fucks clearly, as they quite literally have the date posted on the website as the 22nd. Now, of course, this is not a US retailer, but yes, this is a worldwide drop. So evidently, it looks like this quote-unquote shock drop will be occurring tomorrow, the 22nd, as we do have numerous reliable sources claiming so from as early as May. Images reloaded on Adidas, and even two retailers have accidentally posted them early. Now, as for the retail on these, it was originally $200, as I mentioned earlier. However, it has been rumored that the retail has been lowered on these to $180. This actually does make a lot of sense, considering when Wish ATL did load these, they did load them with a retail of $180. So let's hope that is going to be the case, as that will certainly improve our ROI, that of which we'll discuss more in depth towards the end of the video. But anyway, since this is an Adidas product and not Nike, I do not have the exact stock for these. However, I do expect this drop to have higher stock in comparison to the last one that we did see back in March, but still very limited, being a 450, unlike a Yeezy 350, for example. Regarding resale, we will cover that towards the end of the video, as always. With the release info out of the way, though, let's jump into how to cop these Yeezy 450 Cloud Whites. Similar to some prior Yeezy releases like the blue Yeezy boots or Yeezy 500 highs, the majority of retailers will be following the quote-unquote shock drop procedure and will likely not announce at all, or will just post flash raffles or drop information very late. Hence, as of me making this video, consider all of these sites I'm about to mention simply as potential drops and not actually confirmed. Just be prepared for these, because these will most likely be the retailers to drop, as the vast majority of these have dropped 450s before, including the Cloud Whites. As usual, we will be going in chronological order of sites that could be potentially releasing these. Make sure you follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and Personals for you for any urgent updates on these or any hype sneaker in general. We will start with US retailers, then discuss the Europe retailers afterwards. Now, the first one I did want to discuss was the Adidas Confirmed app, or potentially the Adidas site. I'm not exactly sure where they will decide to drop them, but I do believe the Confirmed app as a flash raffle is the most probable outcome as of now. I am mentioning this first because the earliest time we have seen for this was at 7 a.m. Eastern time. We have not seen that time granted for a long time. I believe the last time we saw 7 a.m. for a shock drop for the 700 V2 Blue release. Now, for these, I'd say it's most likely going to be around 9 or 10 a.m. Eastern time. It could potentially be a first come first serve through the app, but again, I suspect it'll most likely be a flash raffle that will most likely last around 30 minutes. Make sure to follow follow me on Twitter for any updates. If they don't do that, then they may also end up doing the splash page release like the old days on Adidas.com. If they do this, just use multiple Chrome users, and if you don't know what that means, we'll discuss that more when discussing Yeezy supply. Anyway, next up, at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we could potentially be seeing Undefeated drop. They did receive these on March 6th for that drop, in fact, so I definitely will not be surprised if they do drop them again. This drop will most likely be eaten by bots mostly, as it is Shopify, but feel free to give it a try. You must be signed into an account here and expect an age captcha checkpoint, potentially with an easy question that you could Google to solve. Then at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll have the next best opportunity following the Adidas Confirmed app, which is also a great opportunity. Right after 9 a.m. Eastern Time, usually around 9:02 or 9:04 a.m. Eastern Time, the sale for Yeezy supply should go live. However, you should already be set up in advance because the queue normally begins at around 8:45 a.m. Eastern Time, which will give you more than sufficient time to set up. Yeezy supply is sadly no longer first come first serve. They actually used to be one of the fun Shopify sites due to the massive stock they received, throwback to the old Shopify bypass. Since Yeezy supply is a queue, you can feel free to set up all of your Chrome users in advance. You will see the screen change to "the sale has started" when it actually does begin. For those who are wondering what I mean by Chrome users, it's actually quite simple. I'll just walk you through it really quickly. Go to the top right corner of your screen in Google Chrome, click your profile, then click add person, add a random name and emblem, then click add. You could either paste the Yeezy supply domain and manually click the product, or you could paste a direct link, which will look like this that's on the screen right now. This is the early link. Now, that product won't show on this link until they actually load, which is probably going to be when the queue goes up around 15 minutes before the drop, so no point in checking it right now. You could technically do this for as much as you want relative to what your personal computer could actually handle. Also, to view all of them at the same time, here's a quick tip. Just use the Windows and Tab button on Windows and the F3 button on Mac. It is also suggested that you only have a max of 10 users per IP address, so you can split 10 on your Wi-Fi and another 10 on your devices connected to your hotspot, or as an alternative, you could also use a proxy switcher free extension, which I would suggest. And if you buy residential proxies, you could even add a unique one for every single Chrome user, since with residential proxies, you could generate an unlimited amount anyway. So if anyone did want to go this route, feel free to check out the link in the description below for Kip Proxies, or if you happen to be a botter, also feel free to purchase Kip Proxies. Of course, they work great on Yeezy supply. Now, equally as important, make sure to sign into an active Gmail account on each of your Chrome users. Try not to log into the same one too many times, but it'll have to be one of your Gmail accounts that is relatively active. This will make passing queue much more efficient. So just Google my Gmail V3 score to see how close your Gmails are to a 0.9 rating. The closer you are, the better. Obviously, 0.9 is ideal. But now, moving on to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the sites we'll be discussing now are unfortunately all Shopify, so expect these to be very difficult to near impossible, if not completely impossible. Your best shot will likely be Kith, especially if you're in a group that provides Kith early links. Expect an easy question to answer after carding, along with an age captcha. Although not required, I'd still suggest signing into your account. Aside from there, you may also see Concepts, BBC, Blends, Life, and maybe Shop Nice Kicks dropping these as well. Again, from all of these, you have a terrible shot at copying, if any shot at all, but I'd still suggest focusing on Kith. That's probably your least worst opportunity. Then at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we should be seeing Dover Street Market New York e-flash drop. This site is again near impossible. It is Shopify. They don't use proxy protection and they hardly ever use their checkpoints, but there's nothing else going on at 11, so it's definitely worth a try. Might as well give it a shot. Can't hurt. But now, with the US sites out of the way, let's discuss a few Europe sites that may potentially be dropping. The first one I did want to mention, it's actually the latest time, but it does ship to the US as well, so I wanted to say this first. This is Dover Street Market London eFlash. Just like eFlash New York, you could expect this drop to be near impossible. Regardless, it's worth a try, since nothing is going to be going on around this time anyway. The time is usually 6 a.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. CEST, but sometimes they do drop around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 p.m. CEST. Either way, don't have high expectations for this site, unfortunately. Moving on to other Europe sites at 9 a.m. CEST, or occasionally 8 a.m. CEST for Yeezys. Soulbox should be dropping these, as they did drop the last ones too. Make sure you make an account beforehand and are logged in for a faster checkout. And lastly, Offspring may potentially shock drop these too. I suggest you follow them on Instagram and enable store notifications. With the head of cop out of the way though, now let us move on to some resale. resale predictions. So the first thing to note on these is the controversial retail. Will they stay at $200 or will the new retail be $180 as rumored? Personally, I believe that it will be $180, considering that's how Wish ATL did load them as. This is great because that extra $20 does allow for a much better ROI. Currently, these are profitable in all sizes, even with a hypothetical $200 retail. Now, with more pairs in circulation, of course, I do expect that these prices are going to be dipping, but I am still confident, even with a dip, all sizes should be profitable with a good margin and a great margin in smaller sizes under 7, especially with the 180 retail, which we do hopefully see. I'll be going full throttle on these in all sizes. Let me know what you guys are doing though. Anyway, that will conclude it for today. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, or perhaps if you learned a thing or two. Subscribe and enable post notifications to stay 100% updated on all hyped releases. Also, feel free to check out the links in the description below for reliable, fast, residential proxies and pre-verified Nike sneakers or Adidas accounts. Also, feel free to follow Endurance's Twitter for updates on restocks or key giveaways, and the same goes for Gargantua if you want to keep up with the progress or restocks. Last but not least, make sure to follow Keith Adam 10 and Personals for You so you guys stay updated on all urgent info like I was discussing today. With that though, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
Why are you always in my way, knocking me over every single day? Get your foot off my foot,
Get your foot off my foot, yeah!
I should have run the other way. Now there's just one thing to say. Get your foot off my foot,